My name is John, and until recently, I was just a regular guy. Well, as regular as a middle-aged metal worker with a penchant for prepping can be. I spent my days shaping steel, coaxing it into forms both beautiful and functional. Now, I spend my days shaping it into barricades, coaxing it into forms that keep the dead at bay. The irony isn't lost on me. Before, my workshop was my sanctuary. The clang of the hammer, the whine of the grinder, the hiss of the welding torch, these were the sounds of creation, of purpose. Now, those sounds are punctuated by the groans of the undead, the thud of their bodies against the reinforced walls, and the terrified whimpers of my daughter. We live in a world gone mad. A virus, they said. A mutation. A government conspiracy. Doesn't matter now. The dead walk. They hunger. And they're relentless. The world changed quickly. One day, the news was filled with reports of a strange flu outbreak in some distant city. Then, it was multiple cities. Then, it was everywhere. The reports became more frantic, the images more gruesome. People collapsing in the streets, convulsing, then, rising. Not as themselves, but as something else. Something hungry. I watched it all unfold on the news, a growing knot of dread tightening in my stomach. My wife, Sarah, thought I was being paranoid. It's just a flu, John, she'd said. People are panicking. It'll blow over. My daughter, Emily, was too engrossed in her teenage dramas to pay much attention. Boyfriends, school dances, the latest TikTok trends, that was her world. A world that was about to shatter. But I knew. Deep down, I knew this was different. This wasn't just some flu. This was the end of the world as we knew it. That's why I started prepping years ago. Sarah called it my hobby. She'd roll her eyes when I'd come home with another case of bottled water or a new piece of survival gear. What are you expecting, John? The end of the world, she'd tease. I'd just shrug and say, better to be prepared. Now, she doesn't roll her eyes anymore. She helps me board up the windows. My workshop, once a place of creation, is now our fortress. It's a solid, brick building, detached from the house. That was the first thing that drew me to this property years ago. Most people saw an old, dilapidated outbuilding. I saw potential. I saw a place to build, to create, to survive. I reinforced the walls with steel plating salvaged from an old construction site. The windows are covered with thick sheets of polycarbonate, strong enough to withstand a sledgehammer, let alone the feeble grasps of the undead. The doors are solid steel, reinforced with multiple deadbolts and a steel bar that slides into place, making them virtually impenetrable. The roof is my next project. I'm planning to build a raised platform, a kind of watchtower, where I can keep an eye on the surrounding area. I've already started stockpiling the necessary materials, lumber, steel beams, and more of that polycarbonate sheeting. Inside, the workshop is a maze of supplies. Shelves are stacked high with canned goods, bottled water, medical supplies, and ammunition. There are sleeping bags, blankets, and a small propane heater for when the nights get cold. My tools are my weapons now. The welding torch can sear flesh as easily as it can weld steel. The sledgehammer can crush skulls. The grinder can turn bone into dust. I've taught Sarah how to use a gun. She was reluctant at first, but she's a quick learner. Emily is still struggling to come to terms with everything. She spends most of her time huddled in a corner, clutching her phone, desperately trying to connect to a world that no longer exists. I try to be patient with her. I know this is hard. It's hard for all of us. But we have to be strong. We have to survive. The days are a constant cycle of scavenging, fortifying, and fighting. We venture out only when necessary, always armed and always vigilant. The world outside is a wasteland. Buildings are burned and abandoned. Cars are overturned and rusting. The streets are littered with the dead, their vacant eyes staring up at the sky. The smell is the worst part. The stench of decay hangs heavy in the air, a constant reminder of the horrors that surround us. I try not to breathe too deeply when we're outside. I don't want that smell to become a part of me. We've had a few close calls. One time, we were scavenging for supplies in a nearby grocery store when we were ambushed by a horde of zombies. We managed to fight them off, but not without taking some hits. Sarah got bitten on the arm. I had to cauterize the wound with the welding torch. It was brutal, but it worked. She's still here. Emily hasn't been bitten yet, thank God. I don't know what I'd do if I lost her. The nights are the worst. That's when the fear creeps in. When the darkness amplifies the sounds of the dead shuffling outside. When the memories of the world we lost come flooding back. I often find myself lying awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if we'll ever see another sunrise. Wondering if we're just delaying the inevitable. But then I look at Sarah and Emily, sleeping soundly beside me, and I know I can't give up. I have to keep fighting. I have to protect them. I am a metal worker. I am a prepper. I am a survivor. And I will not let the dead take what's mine. The other day, Emily asked me, "Dad, do you think things will ever go back to normal?" I looked at her, her young face etched with worry, and I didn't know what to say. Could I honestly tell her that things would be all right? That one day, she'd be able to go back to school, see her friends, and live a normal life. The truth is, I don't know. I don't know if there is a normal to go back to. This might be the new normal. A world of constant struggle, of survival against all odds. But I couldn't tell her that. I couldn't crush the last vestiges of hope that she was clinging to. So I smiled, as best as I could, and said, "Of course, honey. Things will get better. We just have to keep fighting." She smiled back, a small, fragile smile, and I knew that she didn't believe me. But she wanted to. And that was enough. For now. We've started a garden inside the workshop. It's not much, just a few rows of vegetables growing under artificial lights, but it's something. A sign that we're not just surviving, we're trying to live. Sarah is the one with the green thumb. She always had a knack for growing things. Even in the middle of the apocalypse, she can coax life out of the barren earth. Emily helps too, sometimes. She's starting to come out of her shell, to find a sense of purpose in all of this. She's learning how to shoot a gun, how to set traps, how to defend herself. She's becoming a survivor. I'm proud of her. Proud of both of them. They're stronger than they think. We've even started to trade with other survivors. There are small communities scattered throughout the countryside, people who are just trying to make it through each day. We trade food, supplies, and information. It's a risky business, but it's necessary. We can't survive alone. One group we trade with lives in an old farm a few miles away. They're a rough bunch, but they're good people. They've lost a lot, but they haven't lost their humanity. Their leader is a woman named Maggie. She's tough, resourceful, and fiercely protective of her people. I trust her. And in this world, trust is a rare and precious commodity. Maggie told me something the other day that stuck with me. She said, "We can't just survive, John. We have to rebuild. We have to create something new out of the ashes of the old world." She's right. We can't just focus on surviving the day-to-day. We have to think about the future. We have to think about what kind of world we want to create for our children. It's a daunting task, but it's not impossible. We have the skills, the knowledge, and the will to do it. We just need to find a way. I've started to think about what that new world might look like. A world where communities are built on cooperation and mutual support. A world where knowledge is valued and shared. A world where the mistakes of the past are not repeated. It's a long shot, I know. But we have to try. We have to believe that a better future is possible. Because if we don't, then what are we fighting for? The zombies are still out there, of course. They're a constant threat. But they're not the only threat. There are other dangers in this world. Raiders, gangs, desperate people who are willing to do anything to survive. We've encountered a few of them. They're ruthless, brutal, and unpredictable. They'll kill you for your food, your supplies, or just for the hell of it. We've learned to avoid them whenever possible. But sometimes, confrontation is unavoidable. And when it is, we fight. We fight to protect what's ours. We fight to survive. I've killed people in this new world. People who were trying to kill me, or my family. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's something I had to do. I try not to think about it too much. I try to focus on the present, on the task at hand. But the memories are always there, lurking in the shadows of my mind. I wonder if I'll ever be able to forget the things I've seen, the things I've done. I wonder if I'll ever be able to forgive myself. But then I look at Sarah and Emily, and I know I have to keep going. I have to keep fighting. I have to be the man they need me to be. Even if that man is a killer. The seasons have changed. Winter is coming. The days are getting shorter, the nights are getting colder. We need to prepare. We need to gather firewood, stockpile food, and reinforce our defenses. The winter will be harsh. Many will not survive. But we will. We have to. I've started working on a new project. A wind turbine. I'm hoping to generate some electricity, to power our lights and our heater. It's a long shot, but if it works, it could make a huge difference. I'm using salvaged parts from old cars and appliances. It's slow going, but I'm making progress. I spend hours in my workshop, tinkering, welding, and grinding. It's a welcome distraction from the horrors of the outside world. Sarah is helping me. She's surprisingly good with tools. She's always been resourceful, but she's really come into her own in this new world. Emily is learning too. She's starting to show an interest in my work. She asks questions, offers suggestions, and even helps me with some of the simpler tasks. It's nice to have them with me. It makes the work go by faster. And it reminds me of what I'm fighting for. The wind turbine is almost finished. I'm hoping to have it up and running before the first snowfall. If it works, it will be a symbol of hope. A sign that we can not only survive, but thrive. A sign that even in the darkest of times, the light of human ingenuity can still shine. I look up at the sky, at the gathering storm clouds, and I feel a surge of determination. We will not be defeated. We will not give up. We are survivors. and we will rebuild. No one knows how long this nightmare will last. Maybe it will be weeks, or months, or years. Maybe this is the way the world is now. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the long term. I try to focus on today. On getting through this day. The routines that we've established are important. They give shape to the days and something to focus on. Every morning, I make sure the perimeter is secure. Sarah checks the garden and figures out what we can eat that day. Emily helps with water collection. She's also become quite the hunter, surprising us all with her skill with a crossbow I found in a sporting goods store. After our morning tasks, we usually work on improving our defenses or scavenging for supplies. We try to avoid contact with other groups as much as possible, but sometimes it can't be helped. We've learned who to trust and who to avoid. Evenings are spent cooking, cleaning, and doing repairs. After dark, we huddle together, telling stories and playing games to keep our spirits up. We are careful to keep the noise down so we don't attract unwanted attention. Sometimes, we just sit in silence, listening to the sounds of the night. The wind howling through the trees, the distant growls of the undead, the creaking of the house as it settles. These sounds have become a part of our lives. They remind us that we are still alive, that we are still here. Food is always on my mind. It's a constant worry. How long will our supplies last? Where will we find more? We've learned to be resourceful, to make the most of what we have. Sarah is an expert at preserving food. She cans everything she can get her hands on. The garden helps, but it's not enough. We need to find other sources of food. We've started trapping small animals, like rabbits and squirrels. Emily is surprisingly good at it. She's patient and quiet, and she has a knack for finding the best spots to set the traps. We also fish in the nearby river. It's a risky business, but it's worth it. Fish is a good source of protein, and it's a welcome change from the canned goods. Water is another concern. We have a well on the property, but it's not always reliable. We also collect rainwater whenever we can. We have several large barrels that we use for storage. We boil all of our water before we drink it, to kill any bacteria. We can't afford to get sick. Medical supplies are also running low. We've used up most of our antibiotics and pain medication. We need to find a way to replenish our stock. Sarah has some knowledge of herbal medicine. She's been experimenting with different plants, trying to find natural remedies for common ailments. It's a long shot, but it's worth a try. Security is paramount. We can't afford to let our guard down, not even for a moment. The undead are always out there, lurking in the shadows. I've set up a perimeter alarm system around the property. It's a simple system, just a series of tripwires connected to bells and whistles, but it's effective. It gives us early warning if anything is approaching. We also take turns standing watch at night. We have 2 shifts, one from midnight to 3, and the other from 3 to 6. It's tiring, but it's necessary. I trust Sarah and Emily with my life. They are both strong and capable. They have learned to defend themselves, and they are not afraid to fight. I'm proud of them. They have adapted to this new world with courage and resilience. They are my family, and I will do everything in my power to protect them. I sometimes think about the people we've lost. My parents, my friends, my neighbors. All gone. Taken by the undead. I miss them terribly. I miss the world we used to live in. A world of peace and prosperity. A world where we didn't have to worry about surviving. But I can't dwell on the past. I have to focus on the present, on the future. I have to keep moving forward. I owe it to my family. I owe it to myself. I will not let the undead win. I will not let them take everything from me. I am John. I am a metal worker. I am a prepper. I am a survivor. And I will keep fighting until my last breath. The world is a dangerous place, filled with death and decay. But it is also a place of beauty and wonder. Even in the midst of the apocalypse, there are moments of grace. A sunrise over the mountains, a full moon shining through the trees, the sound of birds singing in the morning. These things remind me that life is still worth living. I am grateful for every day that I have with my family. Every day that we survive is a victory. We are not just surviving, we are living. We are creating a new life for ourselves, a new world. It's not the world we wanted, but it's the world we have. And we will make the most of it. We will rebuild. We will thrive. We will survive. I am John, and this is my story.